What am I doing today? Well, I have a bowl with water and stamps. I have scraps, lots and lots of scraps. And I'm going to create snippet rolls because apparently I lost the ones that I made before. Hi everyone, my name is Mary Lou and this is Create Junk Journals with Mary Lou. So I'm going to start right now by taking a strip of adding machine paper. Today I am going to make a snippet roll out of scraps, stamps, and that's it. Scraps and stamps, snippet rolls. And it's a very easy project. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to start somewhere and then I'm going to build. So I'm just putting some glue down, and you know I don't usually use glue stick, but I'm just going to use that today because most of these little papers are really sticky already. So if I just layer the stamps in there, or the little scraps in there, that's fine. So the scraps that I am using are coming off of the back of the postage stamps. So when you're soaking these postage stamps and you slide the stamp off, you are left behind, or you keep a little scrap piece of paper. And the opposite side of the envelope is actually sometimes really interesting. So that is what I am using right now. And how cool is that? So yeah, I saved a whole bunch the other day when I was doing it, and now I have a bunch more in the water here. And so yeah, I'm just going to build a snippet roll out of these scrap pieces, and then I can decorate it up with the postage stamps. My paper, like, look how cool that is. How cool does that look? So I'm just going to stick that right there. Like so. And snippets are fantastic to use for in your junk journal. And they're sticking together because after the glue comes off of the postage stamp, it stays on the paper. So that's kind of what's happening here. So I'm just sticking it down. Doesn't have to be neat, doesn't have to be tidy. I just have to stick it down. Once I get everything on there that I can, like, and the paper is full, then I will start worrying about whether or not it is neat and tidy and how it needs to look. Okay, so I will continue doing this for a little while. And once I get rid of a bunch of the scraps, then I will be back. But in the meantime, I want to show you how I remove the stamps off of the paper. So I'm just going to put my bowl right here, and that's a bowl with nice warm water. And then I can just slide the stamp right off, and I'll put that aside. And then same here, they're just sliding right off of the paper. I have soaked all the stamps. They are off of these little pieces of paper, which are still semi-drying. So once I get rid of all the stamps off of here, I can lay those out so they'll dry a little bit quicker. So I'm just going to gather all the stamps off of here. And there is a lot. And if you think that this is a fraction of what I got in my in the auction lot that I won, you realize how many stamps I have and why I am using them in all kinds of projects. And they will be going into a little bin, and then I can just use them as is. But because right now they're front and center in my space, they are being used. And honest, I am still not using them all. I am just using a few here and there. I have grabbed a bunch of, or a couple of strips of the adding machine paper, and I'm just going to slide them up a little bit so that I'm more centered. There we go. And around me, what you can't see, well, you can see the mess right here. But I also have newspaper clippings and everything around me right here. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to find my new glue stick, because this one ran out of juice. I got it right there. Brand new glue stick. So this one still has room for a few more spots. So I'm just going to put some glue where the spots are. And this one is for the most part blue. So that's, I want to stay with the blues. So I'm just grabbing different blue bits and pieces, and I'll just rip them if I don't like the shape. Right there. And do I have something else? There's a little piece of, well, it's purple, but it'll work. Stick it right there. Right here is a little piece. So I'm just grabbing another. And this is the cool thing is I'm really just using the insides of envelopes, but in very, very small bits and pieces. And envelopes are actually just, I keep saying it, they're just so pretty on the inside. And then for the next one, I do want to go back with the newspaper, or the newspaper pieces, the envelope pieces, but I want some newspaper underneath. That's where my newspaper thought came from. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of glue, or a lot of glue, right here. Stick my glue right on top, and then I'm just going to take strips of the newspaper. So yesterday, or for the video on that I did on Monday, I had all these strips for, they were all 1 inch wide, for my quilt collage. So that works perfectly well for what I am needing right now. So I'm just grabbing bits and pieces of newspaper and sticking it down. And some of this newspaper has now gotten wet, so it feels really weird, but it's all good. That is all exactly kind of what I am looking for. I have big pieces, I have little pieces. And this is not going to look very different from the other one once it is done. So I'm just covering those little areas. I can take that piece and stick that right there. And then I have, oh look, I have some Chinese paper. We'll stick that in there just 'cause. I'm not sure if that will stick. Let's just put a little bit more glue there. And there it goes. So there is number 2. Base is covered. So then I have a third one. And I think I like the one with the newspaper snippings the best as the bottom. So I think that's where I'm going to go. again. And you can never have too many snippet roll pieces, because once you get going, once you start decorating your journals, you'll be using them all the time. They are wonderful quick pockets and decorations and tags, because they actually make wonderful tags too. They make great page edges. I am not spending a lot of time here. I am just quickly putting bits and pieces down to get something to look interesting underneath my postage stamps in my journals. Okay, so now I have a base with these. And I think, so I really like these two. This one is, I like it, but it just needs to be broken up a little bit. So what I am going to do is I'm going to take some strips of newspaper, and I'm just going to rip it and stick it. So all I'm doing is I'm putting the glue, or I'm pulling the piece of paper through the glue and sticking it down over top of my envelope pieces to make it, to break up the snippet idea a little bit. Oh, that's a teeny tiny piece. That's okay. It doesn't all have to be big, huge pieces. Just little pieces will do the trick. There's a big piece. And we'll stick that one right there. And you see, it does a couple of things. It is going to now hold the snippet pieces of the envelopes down to the roll. And it breaks up the blue a little bit. Here, I'm just taking whatever I can find. So nothing overly exciting, just little pieces of newspaper. There, I have one more piece right here. I have more. I know I have more. Well, I know I have a drawer full of newspaper, so that's something completely different. But there we go. So I think this looks so much nicer now. And it still looks messy-ish. So I'm going to put this one aside and let it dry again. And we'll take the next one. And now, instead of putting newsprint on it, now I'm going to grab all these little bits and pieces again. So I'm taking a piece of that really washed out envelope, and I'm just putting glue on it. And you see, I'm just using the glue stick because I do want to stitch on this as well. And I really like that it is washed out, because what does that do? It makes it look much older than it probably is. Oh, and I have one more piece. Ha! Bonus! Stick it right there. what else do I have? I know I have some, oh, that I like that one because it has words on it. So now all I'm doing is look at, oh, I like that one too. So I'm sticking down this piece. And just putting glue all the way over that piece. And sticking this right here at the top. So now all I'm doing is just kind of breaking up the newspaper look. And adding a little color to it. Not a lot, but enough to make a difference. And I'm very obviously using the pieces that were kind of washed through. And I think it just looks so cool. Here's another piece. Like, how beautiful is that? I think I could put this one, oops, right there. I have a bunch of the colored pieces on there, and I think it just makes a difference in how it looks. So this one, I want to use whatever I can find for the neutrals. So for example, this little piece. I'll put it right there. And then I have a neutral right here. So what we're doing is also keeping the outlines of the postage stamps. So this one, for example, is completely faded around the postage stamp. But that gives a lot of interest for me for what I am doing with it. So this is just the old paper, the old envelopes, the old faded white envelopes or cream envelopes that were used. And I'm just reusing them right now. Oh, here's a piece of craft paper. Right there. There we go. So there is another one ready for the next step. So there we go. We have the 3 big snippet rolls. Slowly, I am actually getting to organize all of this stuff. So it is going places. It's just going places slowly because, you know, we don't always have time every day. So I'm also trying to separate them at the same time, but yeah, it's slow going. So what I'm going to do first is I have a bit of cheesecloth, and I want to just take a little bit of cheesecloth and put it over top of this blue one. I want to tone that blue down a little bit. So I'm just going to take a little bit and I have some glue and water here. Right there, and I have a brush. I'll probably have to squeeze out really well. Okay, so I'm taking some glue and water, and I am just going to go over top of this and sticking the cheesecloth in there and just patting it down. I'm just kind of taking my regular snippet rolls and giving them a little bit extra. That is pretty much what my goal was today, was to just do something a little bit more interesting with snippet rolls. Pulling this, sticking it down in here, and that will give this whole project a little bit extra. There we go. That can go and dry. This is really okay, this is where we're going, and let's dry it. Now this is what we're doing, let's dry it. This is why I'm working with 3 at the same time. The other thing I want to do is I have this, I have glue all over my hands. I have the kind of pinky ones. And I think I want to add some fabric to it. I have this beautiful hanky, and I've used this beautiful hanky, or I've got a couple of beautiful hankies. And I have been using them little by little, and I think there's just something there, and I need to use them on this project. I have been extremely lucky in finding some really cool things in auctions. So that is where these hankies come from, and where some of my patterns have come from. It's just cool. So I'm just sticking little bits and pieces of fabric down because I can. And this is like these hankies, you will never reuse them, and if I don't do something with them, they will disintegrate and they will disappear. And so by using them in a project like this, I am actually holding them for the future. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. There we go. So this one is now a little bit more floral. So what I am going to do is I'm going to find some postage stamps that have flowers on them, and I'm just sticking them into that glue that I've just put down. And I'm trying to stay within the pinkish, purplish tones. And I will be covered in glue, just so you know. I am going to put a layer of glue on here. It'll do 2 things. It will seal everything, and I'm able to put the postage stamps in there a little bit easier. Oh, that one's cool. Let's see, I these here. Oh, depending on how you put them down, you can put them down over and over and over again. And this makes for pretty cool. These are page edges. And even if they weren't page edges yet, they're page edges now. And the reason that they are is because they're all in the same direction. So, oh, there's a pretty one. Oops, where did it go? There it is. Let's put it right there. So I'm just sticking them down really well. There's a purple one. Let's put a purple one in there too. I have another purple one here. Different kind of purple, but it's still purple. So sometimes I like to decorate my snippet rolls with paper dolls or with labels or something like that. And in this case, I am using postage stamps. Why not? Because I only have a gazillion of them. Oh, I have this round one right here at the top. And I'm just covering things up, putting them in places. You're still going to see the colors from the snippets, from the envelope snippets coming through, but they are toned down a little bit. And you can still see the text, but that is also toned down a little bit. So every bit has been just slightly toned down by putting the postage stamps over top. And I think I want one more right there at the bottom. I have another, what do I have here? Oh, grapes. Let's put some grapes down. Stick my fingers right in the glue so I could stick it down. There we go. Do I need anything else? Do I have anything else that would be fitting? There's another set of grapes. Let's put some grapes right there. Like that. I think this is lovely. So there is a beautiful snippet roll. I do want to go a little bit off the page here with them. So I'll just take this one. And then we'll get some bits and pieces that won't look so perfect. Because that is also very important. You don't want everything to be perfectly lined up. Oh, strawberries. Why not strawberries? There, and then we'll put some strawberries right there. This one can go there, and this side can go right there. There we go. There is everything looking perfect. I am not cutting any of the pieces off. this is staying exactly as it is. I do not believe that a snippet roll needs to be completely straight and even, so you can see the adding machine paper and then everything is kind of hanging off of it. So that is what I like, and I'm just going to let that dry. And then I'm going to do something similar to this one, but I need to glue off my fingers first. One of the other things that I have right now is this container full of threads. And I am pretty lucky in our area, and I keep saying that, but it is true that there is a lot of vintage material available. When I was at the garage sale on the weekend, it was actually crazy how much vintage material is out there and what people are asking for it. Like, actually crazy. Okay, so I'm going to put some glue over here. Just like that. I'm not going to create thread clusters. I just want to create some interest with some threads. So then I'm just going to lay the thread in there and just kind of roll it off, and it'll fall into the glue, and that's all I need. Because then when I go over it with the postage stamps, then the thread will just stick under the postage stamps, but you still get to see all the texture and all of that. And I'm not putting very bright colors in there either. I just want the texture. I want you to be able to see that they are different colors, which you probably won't be able to see on camera, but I can see it from here. I just want you to see just a little bit better. And again, the threads will be hanging off the edges of the page because that looks cool. I have some blue here. Whoopsies! Okay. So I'm going to take some more of the glue and just very carefully dab the glue into the threads so that they are going down into the other layer of glue. I just want to make sure that nothing is going to come unattached. There we go. Okay, so now I am going to find all my purple postage stamps. So for example, right here. And right, no, not right there. And there's a lot that are attached to each other, so I am just sticking them down, trying to find spots that they can go where they're not sticking to each other. And you can see I'm really trying to get them to be off the page. But they're mostly going to be page tabs, so, or page tabs and page edges. And that's why I can make them come off the page a little bit, because that looks nicer. I'm just trying to find everything that has a little bit of purple in it. When they stick to my fingers, that means they want to be picked up. There's a green one. I want to do the odd green ones because it actually makes purple look so much better. Sticking my fingers into the glue, sticking the glue onto the back of the stamp, and sticking it down. And I think this is a lovely project. I think all three are lovely. The blue one, of course, still needs some work. I just keep doing something to it and then it needs to dry again. Okay. I'm just not spending a lot of time trying to make it look perfect because I want it to be perfect. I just want it to look interesting and fun, and like I have used a lot of scraps, which I really have. There we go. And you know, like when I find more that are purple, then I will add more. But for now, I think this is lovely, and this can just go and dry for a while. Okay, so now we are going to play with the purple ones, or the purple ones, the blue ones. Let's just throw some more glue on here. And that cheesecloth is going to soak up most of that glue. So that's why I'm going to need quite a bit. And then I'm just going to go in with all the postage stamps. Anything that is blue. I think they're all lovely. They're fun. It's something different-ish. I'm just combining a bunch of different things together. And yeah, I like it. I'm going to clean this mess up and I will see what has come out of it. All three are dry-ish. This one is still pretty soaked, but I really soaked it. These are completely dry, and you can still feel the texture of the threads, and the threads easily come loose as well, which is perfect because, you know, the stamps will hold them down. I was thinking that I was going to sew around them or over them and put like a design on it, but I'm not going to because it would make it look chaotic. So I'm not going to do that. This is how they have turned out. I think these are lovely. Like you can see the hankies in there. Right here, you can't really see the hanky because I put it over that orangey paper, but yeah, they are lovely. So I am going to grab a ruler and I'm going to put them in my stash in the size of my journals. And most of my journals are about 8 inches, 8.5 inches. So I am going to cut them at 8.5 inches right there. And I'm just folding it in half there and then cutting it off. That way I'm not stuck with these long pieces, and I can just take the bottom piece right here and I can turn this into a page tab for whatever I need to use a page tab for. Right there. And I will do the same thing for this one. So I'm going to measure it at 8.5 inches. So that's right there. And I'm just going to fold it in half. Just like that. Oops. And then I'll cut that off. Cut the strings off too. There we go. And then we'll cut it I'm trying to just rip it. And then what you do is you just fold them in half. Just like that. And then you can take a page. Do I have a journal page here? Probably not. I'm going to go with no. So I'll just use a piece of book page just to show you. So then you just put it over top of that and you have a beautiful edge on your page that looks totally ripped and done, but it was actually designed exactly the way that you wanted it. So I have a bunch here, and I have a bunch here again to turn into page tabs, which is what I'm going to do right away. Why not? So I'm folding it in half again, and no, not that one. Let's hope that it's going to work with the threads, because that is going to be a little bit different. And it's pretty thick too to get into the punch. But there we go. There's one. And we'll cut the threads down there. And then I'll be able to get definitely 2 out of it. Trying to be as cheap with the paper as I possibly can, because it's really cool. There. And then what do I have left? Not enough to really care. So there we go. And this will need fixing here and there, but yeah, I have a couple of page tabs, couple of page edges, and that was the letter S for ABC April. So I made snippet roll for page edges out of stamps and scraps. How simple was that? I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, or even, well, yeah, if you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, can you give me a thumbs up too? And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I am working on a couple of other projects. My next video will be on Friday for the live, and we will be going with the letter U, I think. Today was the letter S, so Friday will be the letter U. And I have no idea what I'm going to do yet. That's why I haven't announced it yet. I am just sticking with, I have no idea. So that's where I'm at. And then I'll be there on Saturday, and that's my schedule now. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday live, and then Saturday. And so far, I am enjoying that. I am getting a little bit of rest, and I am feeling that I really needed the moment of rest for a couple of days. Have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday, and I hope to see you again, or I hope to see you on Friday during the live for the letter U, and I have no idea what we're going to do yet, so you'll have to come and check it out. Have a great day. Bye.